Hey everybody, it's JMan105 again. In my last video, I showed you the four main parts to a Star Trek CCG deck. I'm going to start talking about those parts more in depth now, starting with your seed deck. And your seed deck consists of many different things, that being your outposts, your doorways, your missions, artifacts, and of course, dilemmas, which are the most important part of any seed deck. These are going to be placed under your opponent's missions so that you can stymie him when he's trying to accomplish these missions. You don't want him scoring points. The whole idea of the game is to be the first to 100 points, and if you can do that before your opponent, you win. It's as simple as that. So, let me go in depth with these factors that make up the seed deck. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, you're going to want to choose your affiliation before you start building a deck. This will come into play when you are putting your seed deck together. As you can see here, I'm using my Ferengi deck. So I have both the Ferengi outpost, which is the trading post, and a neutral outpost out on the table. This is meant to show you your options. You could choose to use either or both, or build one at a later location by putting one in your draw deck. I'm just showing you the options that I use in this deck. So either the Ferengi outpost or the neutral. Missions are another big piece of the pie here, and you can see that I have some Ferengi-centric missions, and some of those missions that state any away team may attempt this mission, or any crew with espionage or whatnot. I found when you're dealing with affiliations like Bajoran, Cardassian, Ferengi, some of the later additions to the game, it works better to throw in a couple of those any away team missions. It actually helps you. So I have done that with a mix in this deck. Doorways are a big part of the seed deck, and because I have a couple personnel in my Ferengi deck with the alternate universe / space-time icon, I use the space-time portal. I could use the alternate universe door, but I choose the space-time portal because, frankly, I love this card and it looks cooler. It's one of the best card photographs out there. So choose your doorways wisely to be put out in the doorway phase before you construct your deck. You need to tailor it to your personnel, your ships, and keep in mind what you're going to play that may or may not affect it, or your opponent for that matter. Artifacts, you're going to want to put in a couple artifacts to put under missions so that it'll give you that little reward or that little boost later in the game. I have chosen the Orb of Prophecy and Change, mainly because you use as an equipment card. Once each turn, you may glance at the top card of your draw deck. Insert it anywhere within your draw deck if you wish. Awesome. And Persistence of Memory. Place in hand until at any time on Horgon, or Thoughtmaker, or Mona Lisa, or Static Warp Bubble, or Kivas Faggio Collector, or the Traveler Transcendence, or Davidian Door, or Supernova, or Black Hole, or Anti-Time Anomaly. Reverses that card. Sweet, sweet card to dig up later in the game. Now, the biggest part of your seed deck are the dilemmas that are going to be ended up putting under your opponent's missions to stymie him from scoring points. Because remember, the first player to 100 points wins the game. You obviously want to do that before your opponent. I've tailored some of the dilemmas to the deck itself, but I've grouped them more in terms of what they do. So to give you an example, these 3 planet missions that I would put under one planet: Civil Unrest, Malfunctioning Door, Ferengi Attack. One stops 2 away team members if they don't have diplomacy. This one you have to have a Soontyke android present, or a combined strength greater than 27, up to 4 away team members. And the Ferengi Attack kills 1 away team member opponent's choice unless total cunning plus strength greater than 68, or greed present. I tend to have a theme with my dilemmas. I group them by what they do. So stoppage, damage, death for planets, and in terms of in space, so I'll give you another example with some of my space dilemmas. Please note hazardous duty can be space or planet, but I've grouped it as following. So hazardous duty, to get past, requires 2 officers, then place on mission until solved. If any non-officer dies here, its owner loses points. Awesome. Maglock, some people look at this and go, oh, everybody uses Maglock. I like it in certain decks. To get past, crew must have at least 3 officer with strength greater than 5 each. And Iconian computer weapon. More simplistic, but if it goes in a pile of dilemmas and you've already ruined your opponent with the first 2 or 3 under there, unless science present, reboot by discarding all non-personnel cards in hand and replenish from top of the draw deck. Discard dilemma. Your dilemmas need to be able to work in triples or in quadruples underneath a mission. By that I mean not 4 or 3 of the same card, but 4 that do the same type of thing to your opponent when he tries to attempt the mission. This is a big thing in the Star Trek CCG, and it can make or break a seed deck. So to recap, your affiliation is everything. You'll have to choose your outposts, which in turn will help you choose your missions. You might want to use affiliation-centric cards or any away team. Artifacts to help you reap some rewards later. The all-powerful doorways, because that's a phase in itself. And your groupings of dilemmas. This is all what you must take into consideration just for the seed deck in the Star Trek CCG. Thanks for watching. The next episode will be on the draw deck.